It's Tuesday and it's time for Falcon Focus. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Falcon Focus, episode number 8 here in season number 5. My name is Matt Menzel on this week's edition. In segment number 2, our focus will be on wrestling. We'll talk with their 7th-year head coach, Kevin Cook. But up first, our focus on women's basketball. The new season has tipped off and being joined by senior guard Liliana Guerra, kind enough to join us. Do note real fast, no show next week. We'll take next week off for Thanksgiving. Back with you coming up on the 28th of November. Lily, you guys got your season started this past weekend on Friday against Kelvin from Lake Forest, Illinois, a tough 59 to 48 setback. Always exciting for a brand new season to start, but when you look at that loss, in your opinion, what was the difference that night?
I just think they came out aggressive the second half, and we tried hard to be as aggressive with them. They were taller than all of us. Their shortest guard was 5'4", and it just came into needing to box out and making sure they didn't get that extra shot. If it was not that extra shot, I feel like it would have been a completely different ball game.
A very competitive game that would see 16 ties and 10 lead changes. You look at the fourth quarter. How frustrating is a quarter like that where it just seems like that ball won't go in the hoop for you guys?
Yeah, it was definitely super frustrating for us, but I know we tried to focus really hard, like in-out, like go into our post, get that foul call, because a lot of the girls were coming down, so we knew right away, like, okay, let's get it into our post. Let's foul. If they decide to double, let's pass out and let's hit that shot.
Yeah, scoring differential in that fourth was 12-4 in favor of Kelvin. The beauty, though, this past weekend, the tournament from Lake Forest is a quick turnaround. The team back in action on Saturday and able to knock off host Lake Forest by the final score of 62-42. What worked well on Saturday?
We just had a lot of in and out, and I think that was our strong game, and even our defense. Like, we stressed that we wanted to be aggressive. We have so many girls on our team where we can keep on exchanging bodies and bodies. So we knew, like, okay, let's attack them with our defense. Let's make it hard for them to get into their plays. Let's make it hard for them to get it to the basket. Like, let's make each point that they make worth it. Like, it has to be, like, hard working to get the point because our defense was so strong.
Let's talk further about that aggressiveness because it certainly paid off. You guys got to the free throw line, 14 of 18 from the charity stripe. Is that a big focus, being that aggressive and, as you mentioned, getting that ball inside and maybe drawing some contact?
Yeah, we definitely work so hard on our free throws. Like, we do 25 free throws, like, every day, and we calculate that every day. So free throws is super huge. And it kind of just gets us ready to shoot the outside jumper. Like, if we have a free throw that maybe fixes our form, and then when it comes into, like, maybe a three-point shot or even a mid-range, like, it's easier to make those when you have yourself going a little bit.
That game on Saturday, the Falcons enjoyed a 27-18 halftime lead. What was the halftime message? Because whatever it was, obviously the message received because in the third quarter you guys came out and outscored the Foresters 20-9.
We just talked about that we needed to come in and aggressive. Like, they had their run, and we were like, okay, like, they had their run, we're fine. Like, now it's time for us to go on our run and for us to show them, like, okay, like, this is our time. Like, this is our time to show how aggressive we are. This is our time to stomp and show them that there's no recovery back to the game.
This is your senior season now. How do you spend your off season? Maybe what was your focus and preparation for this season?
My focus was definitely to be more aggressive. I know usually on Scout it's known that I'm a three-point threat, and I wanted to focus on being more than just a three-point threat. I wanted to get into the lane, cause fouls. I wanted to focus more on assists. I wanted to handle ball pressure so much better when it comes to having presses come against us and everything in that. So I worked out 2 to 3 times a day, every day, and just focused really hard on being aggressive.
Of course, the three-point shot was still there for you this past week. And how did you feel the first 2 games went for you?
I feel like it went super great. I feel like my defense was definitely better. I feel like I was able to pick up full court, better conditioning-wise compared to last season. I felt more confident shooting the ball, and that also goes along with Coach. Like, she stressed that she believes in me, and I think that was a huge part in my success for this coming weekend was just knowing that I had her behind my back when I shot and knowing that even if I miss, she's going to be like, just shoot the next one or get into the lane or shoot your jumper like you have this. So I feel like that just really helped a lot.
As you mentioned, you're more than just a three-point threat, although you hit 5 threes in those 2 games combined this past weekend. Has that three-point shot always been, though, a big part of your game?
Shockingly, no. When I was younger, it used to be my floaters, which I'm trying to get back to, which I definitely lost in the college season. But no, I used to never be super a huge three-point threat. I used to just be a passer and a defender. But with my training outside, they just showed me, like, okay, I'm a good shooter. Like, you can do this. So it really helped in the season being able to be a three-point threat.
So with all that being said, how would you currently describe yourself as a basketball player?
I would just say I'm very aggressive and very just competitive. Like, I hate to lose, and that goes with the entire team. We just
Sure.
don't like losing. But I would say I'm a three-point threat, but I can do different things. Like, I know I'm very confident with the ball. If there's pressure, I love it. Like, I love when people pressure me because I'm like, okay, like, this is my time to beat you. This is my time to get you. And I just love being a passer. I love getting the assists. I love the and ones. I just think overall just a well-rounded player.
What do you see your role in this team being, and has it changed a great deal from last year?
I definitely am taking that leadership aspect. I definitely want to be the leader. I definitely want to be somebody that people can come to regarding the game in and outside basketball. Definitely someone who wants to take control when things aren't going our way. Definitely our hype man, our energetic bunny. I just want to be that person that anybody can count on.
And, of course, last year being your first year in the program, you transferred in from UW Platteville. Was that a tough adjustment, or did it take a little bit of time getting used to the whole Concordia system?
No, actually, I felt super welcome the second I got here. I was definitely super nervous being, a junior coming into a whole brand new program and trying to get the fix of everybody in the program. But the second I came on and stepped on this court, I felt like family. Like, I felt like I've been here for years, and I felt like with this program, it helped me elevate my game and my confidence so much more.
I mean, you mentioned the leadership role and the aspect here this season for you. How about last year, your first year with this program, new teammates? Did it take a little while to find your voice, or did you find it right away?
I think being a point guard and having that role to be someone who calls out the plays, I feel like that came instantly.
Okay.
Like, we had Emily Hafman, who was, and I got to learn so much from her, and I'm so grateful that I was able to play with somebody so amazing. But I think instantly I took into that leadership aspect off the spot, and I wanted to be the point guard that people can rely on.
Let's talk about Emily Hafman. What did you learn from just watching and seeing and playing with and behind Emily Hafman?
She's so emotional about the game. She loves the game, and that kind of it feeds off of everybody of how passionate and how aggressive she is. Definitely that leadership aspect. Like, she was able to hype us up when we were at our lowest, or able to calm us down when we were at our highest. Like, okay, like, let's keep going. I definitely learned so much from her about being aggressive, about being not afraid to take your own shot and be your own person along with being on the team.
So for you, when you were looking for a brand new school, when you're leaving UW Platteville, what made Concordia your school of choice?
Coach and the girls. The second I walked on campus, Coach gave me a big hug and was super welcoming, and I had lunch with a bunch of the girls, and I felt like I was already part of the team without even having to commit yet. So I knew in that moment, I'm like, this is where I want to be. This is where I was meant to be.
Of course, right now, the focus is the here and now and taking it one game at a time. But when you look back at last season, the Falcons, a team that went 16-11, 14-4 in NAC play. When you look at last season, when you look back and reflect, what, in your opinion, was the story of last year's team, how that season all came about?
I feel like the team was we were a lot of veterans. Like, it was definitely a lot of older players that have been playing for the program for so long. Like, we have Emily Hafman, who played for her sixth season. It was definitely a lot of older players. But we were still so competitive, even with our new freshmen that we had, like Ava and Caitlin and Daria, and even like me as a transfer. Like, we knew what our end goal was, even with the veterans, and they just help us like get to our goal.
When you look at the schedule for this year, you guys will head to Colorado for a tournament coming up next weekend, the Friday, Saturday after Thanksgiving. But how about last year? You guys went to Puerto Rico. How fun was that trip?
Oh, it was a blast. We definitely had so much fun on the beach, but I think Coach thinks we're super weird because we just read books on the beach. And she was like, why aren't you guys in the ocean? And we're like, we're just reading. Like, I don't know.
Weather was nice?
Oh, it was beautiful. We got super tan. Definitely a bunch of girls got super burnt, but that's okay. I think they were happy about that.
Be a little different next week, perhaps in Colorado. Maybe some snow. We'll have to wait and see. But
yeah.
When you look at this team, and the Falcons are predicted 4th in the NAC, you know, when you look at outside of this past weekend, what took place against Kelvin, against Lake Forest, how's this team looking? When you look at training camp, when you look at practice, how's this team coming together?
We gel so quickly. Like, all of our freshmen, all of our newbies, like, we have gelled so quickly. And like reflecting on the game that just happened, like I believe we're so good. Like we're so quick, we're so aggressive. And of course we have things we need to work on, but that comes with every game and like what happens. But as a whole, we're so aggressive and we're so fast. I have super high hopes for the season.
So the newcomers are fitting in nicely?
Oh, they're fitting in beautifully. We get along. We can't get enough of each other. You think?
Well, and there's a lot of new faces on this team.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems like there's even more depth than maybe in years past. So that's certainly a plus, especially when you play back-to-back days.
Exactly. Like they get their minutes and they prove that they deserve those minutes. And they work. They work so hard. And even in practice, like when we stress, like, all right, like let's do this, like they're up for any challenge that we give them. And that's amazing.
What goals have you set for yourself and for this team this season?
I set for myself to be more confident. I wanted to be more of a scoring threat than just a three-pointer. And then our team, of course, is we want to win. Like, we want to compete and we want to win, and we're willing to do anything to get there.
How excited are you to, obviously a couple of games in. It's still hard to believe the basketball season is here.
I know.
Already a couple of games on in. But right behind us here inside the John Book Field is coming up on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, the home opener against North Central. The Falcons compiling an 8-3 record at home a year ago. But how excited are you to get the opportunity to play back here in front of the home fans again come tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. North Central is a great competition. We're preparing really hard for it, and I'm excited to see how it turns out.
So that takes place Wednesday at 7, and then 9 days off thereafter from game action, off to Colorado for a tournament. A couple of games on Friday, Saturday after Thanksgiving, and then coming up on the 29th of November at Whitewater before the NAC opener on December 2nd at Rockford. I ask every senior this, and I'll ask you the same thing as we wrap things up. What's your major? And what's next for you after basketball's all said and done? Are you done this year, or you have another year?
No, I'm staying for another year.
Okay, there you go.
I'm staying.
There you go.
I'm taking it.
Can never keep that straight with that extra COVID year.
Yeah.
Who's got how many years left? But so you got an extra year as far as your major goes, and just what you hope to do with that one day.
Yeah, I'm a finance major. I plan to be a loan officer for Loan Depot in Naperville after I'm just all done.
Already got that figured out.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Well, Lily, all the best to you and the team this season, and we'll be cheering for you come Wednesday. You can see Lily and the Falcons in action again coming up on Wednesday at 7 against North Central before they hit the road, and then won't be back home again until the first week of December. When we come back here on Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin, our focus will shift to wrestling. We'll be joined by their head coach, Kevin Cook. This is Falcon Focus.
If you could make one wish, any wish, what would it be? Would you wish for more money? A better career? Fame? Or would you use your wish to make a difference in someone else's life? At Concordia University, we believe God intended us to live for something bigger than ourselves, to live boldly, faithfully. And with online programs at Concordia University, we're here to help you do that. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin, episode number 8 here in season number 5. And again, no show next week. We take next week off for Thanksgiving. Hope everybody has a great holiday. We'll be back with you in a couple of weeks down the 28th of November. But as we wrap up this 8th episode, our focus now here in segment number 2 is on wrestling, and being joined by, now in his 7th season, the head coach of the Falcon wrestling team, that being Kevin Cook. Hard to believe 7 seasons already for the proud Concordia alum. But let's quickly go back to last season. A great year last year on the mats for the wrestling team. Finished with a winning dual record, had their best ever, finished in the CCIW championships, hosted the NCAA Division III Upper Midwest Regionals. How would you go about, when looking back at last winter, summarizing last season?
Well, it was definitely fun. It was definitely fun to, my 7th season, seeing where we started, with 8 guys on the team in 17-18 to, competing at a high level and competing within the CCIW. It was definitely a fun season, and just seeing that group grow. That was my first graduating group of my first recruiting class. So it was very fun throughout that 5 years to see them grow and to get to that high level. Yeah, 7-3 in duels, highest winning percentage we've ever had. Placing, we fell short of our goal of being in the top 2 of conference, but only by 8 points. And we had one of our starters, not out for that. But it was just a great season, all in all. And we graduated a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But it was fun, and very proud of where the team is and the culture of the Concordia wrestling team is here on campus. And it's a tribute to the leaders that we had on last year's team. So.
When you have a season like last year, do you get the opportunity to enjoy it as the season progresses, or are you constantly looking forward and kind of, previewing what's ahead?
I should have enjoyed it more, but when I enjoy it more now than I was
Sure.
in the season, because, yeah, you're right. I'm always looking for the next best thing, and I'm a competitor and want to always see better. But as the year went on and as I reflected, it was just and obviously Coach Corner also being like, hey, enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen very often, him being through 20-some years of the peaks and valleys, and he said you really should enjoy this, yeah, there was definitely days where I was like, oh, we could do more, I want more, but it was a very successful season, and it was a very great season, and yeah, there was days I enjoyed it, and then days I always wanted more, but definitely blessed and thankful to have that team and that group, and really excited to see where the culture of this team is now because of last year's group.
How special of an athlete was Jack O'Donnell? He was named the 2022-23 Male Career Achievement Award winner, 171 career takedowns. But how special of an athlete was he?
He's a leader by conviction. I mean, he is such a leader, and when you can make everybody around you better just by being in their presence, it's something special. And that was Jack. And he was kind of the same way. He was never good enough, always want more, and such a competitor, but also just a nice guy, and doing the right things and putting the extra work in and helping others, from our best wrestlers down to guys that are freshmen and coming in and just trying to survive the day. But he was something really special, and we're lucky to have him here and to get him a chance to. And he says too, but Concordia is special. He transferred in from, a different school, and when he came here, he's like, man, I feel like a person. And because of that, he had more gratitude about his situation, and he wanted to just continue to give back and to the program and obviously to the Concordia wrestling team. But it just shows his humility and also his just his gratitude on being such a great person and a great wrestler.
And you mentioned it a little bit already, but just overall, how, when you look at that senior class, just again, how special was that senior class in the sense of just laying down the foundation for now the guys that are on the team currently?
Yeah, it was. We graduated 6. Or graduated 8, and 6 of them were 5 were starters. 6 was kind of a flex, kind of a person where he could throw him in as a starter if he needed to. That doesn't happen a lot, but so just to lose that many. But yeah, it was a special group, and to kind of see when they came in, to kind of see the same vision and mission that I had for the program moving forward, and it's really kind of showing with this group, with the culture. We had probably the best preseason training session that we've ever had last year, but it kind of transitioned into this year, and they had a good one as well. And teaching some of those, or showing them guys leadership, what that looks like on and off the mat, and starting to see that in some of our leadership within. Peyton Smith is kind of taking that role and learning from the guys that he's seen.
Sure.
and fostered that relationship with, and taking it and going with it this year. So it's good to see.
Let's turn the page and focus on the current season. When you look at this roster, obviously a younger bunch, how's the competition been at the various weight classes?
Yeah, so we graduated 8. 6 were could be starters. We have 5 completely new weight starters at that's losing half your starting lineup is really hard to fill, and we're filling it with some sophomores and some juniors. I'm looking at opportunities for Cameron Mercer and Seth Elliott, heavyweight, coming behind Dalton Sell, and Carson Cook getting another opportunity to wrestle and seeing those. But it's been a learning curve. We want the same expectations for a completely different team.
Sure.
And so these guys have been thrown into the fire, and we've been battle tested. We had Milliken a couple weeks ago. They're 20th in the country and a very good team. And we were had a game plan like, hey, we're going to go in them. And I think I know we have a good team. We're going to go in there and we're going to battle with them, and we're just going to catch them. But they ended up being a better team than they were last year. And so but we wrestled pretty decent. And then we just last week at Carthage, some of those inexperienced stuff came into. We kind of wrestled down to their level, and we didn't wrestle to our capabilities, and we didn't wrestle our style, and we ended up falling short. We didn't have any breaks go our way, and you got to kind of have that in a close duel, and it's really opened up the guys on the team that, hey, we have to get back to it's a bunch of little things adding into a big problem, and we're just addressing attention to detail and finishing those working on those little things to kind of address some of those things. But we have a very good team. We've got some really good, strong incomers. And Cole Ramos at 49 from Kenosha, Bradford. We're really excited about him. He's come into 2 duels. He's gotten 2 pins for us. First 2 collegiate matches are pins. That's very rare.
That's a heck of a start.
That's very rare. That's a heck of a start. And then we got Jeremy Pullen, which is John Pullen's younger brother from Joliet, and he's going 65 for us. It kind of fills a 65 spot, but he's a solid wrestler. But we're overall experience-wise, we're really young, and we're taking some lumps right now. But I think we're in the lab. We're working hard in the practice room, and I see a lot of growth. I see a lot of guys getting better, and we're just going to really try to peak at the right time.
You mentioned Peyton Smith. Last year he went 16-7. What do you see from him this year? What do you hope from Peyton this year?
He's looked dominant. Obviously looking more for him in that leadership role, and he's done a great job with that, and continue to grow as a leader and pushing guys, keeping them accountable, picking them up when they need to be picked up, kind of keeping them accountable when they need to be kept accountable. He's done a good job with that. But on the mat, he's gotten a lot better in the off season. He's really strong, and he's looked really good. Starting out with a pin and a tech fall in our first couple duels. He went to the Lakeland Scramble because he just wanted to compete. I'm like, I want to go there and compete. I want to wrestle. I want to compete, and he just dominated everybody there. It was good to see. I think he's 6-0 with 4 pins and 2 tech falls. So, he didn't tech the MSOE kid last week, but majored him, so he's gotten bonus points in every match. It's a great start, and we're really excited about him and his expectation. He placed 7th last year at the regional, and you got to go top 3 to go to nationals, but just placing in that regional is a good indicator that you've set yourself up for success.
How about an athlete like Ruben Vasquez, who was a freshman last year, went 15-15? How did he improve as the season went on, and maybe what steps can he take now in year 2? Yeah,
so Ruben, we were really, he was the only freshman, the only kind of the question mark last year. And coming in at freshman, going in at 84 at upper weight, and he really held his own. And we're really excited about him coming from, Westminster, California, and coming in here. We're glad that he had a chance to kind of work with Jack. They kind of knew each other from California, and he had that opportunity. But we were really, really impressed with him. and we're working on some skills with. But this year, what's interesting is he's going to go down to he's lowering down to a weight class. He's going to go 174, and John is going to go 184. So they basically switch weight classes, and it kind of helped both of them. And Ruben was like, "Hey, we could have." There were so many close matches with him, so we're like, let's go down to 74. And John, he was so close to getting the nationals, and then we're like, okay, I think you got maybe a better shot to go here. So it's kind of benefit his team, weight management wise too. Ruben's done a great job. He's got a learning curve going down to a different weight class. There's a learning curve. The guys are a little bit quicker than they are at 184. So he's working hard in the practice room, and we're really excited about what he can do later. Concordia Open coming up, and then obviously throughout the season.
Let's bring up Jonathan Poland, coming off a 19-10 season. Okay, what's next for him? How does he build off that?
That's a tough one to build off of. Well, he's going to go 184, so that's going to help him. Making 174 last year was really tough for him, so we kind of had to manage some of his workload, the amount of times that he made weight. The dynamics of wrestling is crazy. So he might not have wrestled in every tournament and every this. He also had some injuries last year, but his goals are national tournament. That's his next thing. And we got to get to the national tournament. And he's got the skill set to do it. It's kind of nice. The two guys that were in this regional that went 1 and 2 graduated, so that's kind of nice at 84.
Yeah.
The outstanding wrestler tournament, Schoenhuster, he's graduated. So that's another reason why we might have won 84. But his goal is to go national tournament. And working hard to do that. And let's give him an opportunity to wrestle with Peyton in the room more so that iron sharpens iron will be it's pretty fun to watch those two go at it. It's like two Spartans going after, man. It's awesome.
You look at the CCIW, when you look at preseason polls, and again, put the stock in what you will. The Falcons expected to be right in 6th place. Competitive conference, Milliken, North Central expected to be the schools to beat. What do you make of the CCIW this year?
It's North Central's got a great team. They bring almost everybody back, and I think they took 5th last year. Milliken, I thought they were going to kind of fall off a little bit, but I think they got a little bit better team than they did last year. So that just shows the CCIW number 5, number 20 preseason rankings. But it's going to be tough. Augustana's gotten a little bit better. Aurora is a team to kind of watch out for. They've got some young, up-and-coming kids. We don't want to, Aurora, man, it's just tough. But being associated members, do I think we're in the top 3 or 4? Not yet, because we didn't show it at Carthage. But our team-wise, if we're healthy and we're at full strength, I think we're in the top 3. And that's our kind of goal, is to be in the top 3, top 2, and try to win that conference championship. It's never been done before, but it's really tough, and it's really fun to kind of go against that tough competition week in, week out.
You mentioned, you look at the way the season began, and again, Milliken first up at MSOE, a top 25 opponent that was on November the 2nd, fell 36-18. But what did you learn maybe about your team from that experience?
Well, I kind of mentioned it before. It's like, oh, man, we're going to go in. We're going to compete at a high level. And I had the same expectations with a different team. We're a different team. We have 5 different. So I had to I see, hey, there's some things that we have to work on more in practice that we're not working on. And that attention to detail, I said it before because I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks now. We have to get back to some of the attention to details. Last year was like, hey, we're going to go and do some of the fancy stuff and the cute stuff. No, we're going to get down to the basics. And so that's what we learned from that, is like, we're a different team, so we need to practice differently. We need to do things differently. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is not going to work.
You mentioned then you take on Carthage about a week later, come back to fell just short 25-20. What stands out from that matchup?
it was going to be a good duel because they're young and they're getting this kind of like where we were at. When they started out, they had good culture, and they're young and they're building that group. And now they're juniors and seniors, so I knew it was going to be a tough duel.
Sure.
When we wrestled them last year, they were sophomores and juniors, and we were able to kind of handle them pretty good. But they didn't graduate anybody, and everybody was returning in the same weight class. So I knew it was going to be a tough duel. We didn't do a lot of little things that added to a big problem, and no breaks went our way.
Sure.
At 125, it was 1-1. And we had a lot of opportunities to take them down, and we didn't. We lost 2-1 on riding time, and that could have been the difference because you take 3 away from them, put 3 to us, or a point go here, a point go there. It's just, and that's starting out the duel. So it was a lot of little things, and it was a good eye opener, waking up problem for us.
Then you had the Lakeland Scramble this past Saturday. How'd Saturday turn out?
Good. I mean, we started out slow. We didn't take everybody on the team. If we had any, preseason was really good, and we're going really hard. So we had some injuries. So we want to make sure we keep everybody healthy going into the juggernaut of the Open.
Sure.
So if you weren't, had any injuries or anything like that, we got you a chance to get some more match. And that was just feedback. That was just an opportunity to go and compete and get feedback. It was kind of a different format than normal tournaments. Normally it's a double elimination tournament. This was a scramble format tournament, so everybody was going to get 3 or 4, maybe even 5 matches. Well, that's awesome because you can get a lot of feedback. You can go to the Concordia Open, you get the number 1 seed, you lose first round, then you get another tough guy in the back, you go 0-2. There ain't much feedback there. It's a hard.
Sure.
There's a lot of feedback, a hard pill to swallow. But there's wrestling-wise, we got a lot of film. We're breaking that down this week, and it was a good opportunity to get feedback for a lot of our incoming freshmen and those guys that are now thrown into a varsity role. Hey, this is the little things we need to work on.
Let's talk about it. The big event coming up on Saturday, the 30th annual CUW Open taking place, gets underway at 9 a.m. What can fans expect from what is always a very competitive day of wrestling?
It's a prestigious tournament. There's going to be, last year we had 5 of the top 10 teams in the country. This year, Stevens from New Jersey, they're going to a different tournament in Pennsylvania, so they're not coming. But we have 4 of the top 10 teams in the country still. Jeez. We still have Wartburg and Loris and North Central and Wabash. And so it's a great tournament. We love hosting it here. We love hosting competition. I get a tough competition. We're as a team, you compete in this tournament to see where you set yourself up. There's a model for the tournament, and it says the season starts now. Everything before it was like, okay, you're getting ready for this tournament, because if you do well at the Concordia Open, you're going to set yourself for doing well up the rest of the season. You're going to get the accolades of getting ranked. But you're going to be seeing the tough competition in the country and be like, this is where I need to be, or this is where I'm at, this is where I need to go. And it's really good to see that. But, yeah, the season starts now on Saturday. That's kind of what we say.
What are your memories of competing at the CUW Open?
I actually talked about it to some of my one of our incoming freshmen, Brandon Montero from Nevada. I said, my first collegiate competition was the Concordia Open. We didn't have any duels before. We didn't have any tournaments before. And back then, a long time ago, I think it was like its 10th 10th season. Now it's in its 30th.
Yep.
10th season, as you could have unlimited matches. So it was a 32-man bracket. I won my first match, and then I lost to a kid from Michigan State. So it was an open. So any Division I, anybody can wrestle in it. We've kind of modified it to the open Division III. We really wanted Division III teams in it, and I lost that one. So I went on the backside of a 32-man bracket consolation to try to get back to third place. Well, needless to say, I had 9 matches on the day.
Jeez.
I went 7-2, took 5th place. That was my first competition. I had 9 matches on the day. I couldn't walk at the end of the day. I couldn't. And then even Sunday, we had to move mats. We borrow mats from Homestead and Grafton, and I had to move mats. And I was like one of 3 other wrestlers that showed up to move mats the next day. And I'm like trying to,
Jeez.
and I couldn't hardly move. But that's one thing I love about that is, man, it's a tough tournament, but it was quick feedback for me. It's like, hey, I can compete at the highest level right now. So let's not think little.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think big. And that's what I did. And it really springboarded me to the freshman season that I had, which was one of the best in Concordia, at Concordia to, my career here.
I want to wrap it up by just saying congratulations to you as well, being named the Wisconsin Wrestling Coaches Association Coach of the Year for District 8. What does that honor mean to you?
Well, I just want to I appreciate it. It's you get at the end of the year, some coaches nominate you, and then you get voted by the Wisconsin Wrestling Coaches Association body, and I was lucky. And District 8 represents all college coaches in the state of Wisconsin. And there's a lot of them. And there's a lot of great coaches in collegiate coaches in the state of Wisconsin. And I'm just thankful and humble for somebody to nominate me, and then the membership to vote me in as District 8 and represent their state in District 8. And very thankful. But I also say it's not about me. It's about the athletes.
Sure.
It's about the team we had, and it was a great team. And I'm very thankful and humble for that. But it mostly because of the team and the team that they and the competitiveness that team had. And so yeah, it was a great thing. But I'm very humble about it. So
Sure.
But it's back to the drawing board and focusing on this year's group. And we're really excited to see where the culture is of Concordia Wrestling, and can success continue to build into successful years down in the future.
Well, the honor is certainly well-deserved. Coach
Thank
Cook, as
you.
always, thanks a lot for your time. All the best to you and the team this winter.
All right. Thank you so much for having me and what you guys do here for the Falcon Focus. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And again, check out the wrestling team with the CUW Open coming up on Saturday at 9 a.m. Check out CUWFalcons.com for more information. That will do it for this week's edition of the Falcon Focus, presented by Orthopedic Hospital of Wisconsin. Again, no show next week. Happy Thanksgiving, one and all. We'll see you again coming up on the 28th of November for Falcon Focus.